Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and today I want to start with a feeling that I think we are all guilty of harboring, even if we don't really admit it out loud.
Glad to be here. And yeah, I think I know the feeling you're talking about.
It's that nagging suspicion that life is just a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
You know, like if I just get the logistics right.
Right, if you get the salary to a specific number.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Or if I find a partner who ticks these 5 very specific boxes, or if I just optimize my morning routine, then suddenly all the friction will just stop.
Ah, the destination happiness fallacy. It's this idea that you can somehow engineer your way out of the human condition.
Yeah, and we usually treat this as a productivity issue, right? But today we are looking at a source that frames it as a philosophical crisis.
We're diving into a piece from Tushar's Substack titled The Pursuit of a Flawless Life.
And I have to say, the protagonist in this story takes this optimization mindset to a level that is, well, it's both terrifying and sort of fascinating.
It really is extreme, but it's also a mirror for a lot of us. The piece isn't just a dating story, though it definitely starts out that way.
Right.
It's actually a deeper inquiry into why we are so tired, why we feel so entangled, and whether our desperate attempt to control every single variable is actually what's making us miserable.
So let's meet this protagonist. The text introduces us to a woman who has recently made a declaration that honestly really resonated with me on a bad Tuesday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She says she is, quote, tired of everything. Just completely done.
Which is a sentiment we're seeing everywhere right now. I mean, burnout isn't just for careers anymore, it's for life management.
Totally. But the context here is key. The text tells us she was engaged recently, but the engagement broke off after just a few months.
And normally you'd expect the next part of the story to be about grief or...
Taking time to heal, eating ice cream in the dark.
Exactly. But the text says something quite different. It notes that the breakup didn't really affect her much. She just moved on immediately.
Which, on the surface, looks like resilience. We praise that, right? Bounce back.
We do. But digging deeper into the text, it feels less like resilience and more like, well, efficiency.
Yeah, she treats the relationship ending like a failed business merger.
Right, you don't mourn a merger, you just look for the next acquisition target.
And when you look at the numbers here, because there are actual numbers, that acquisition mindset becomes completely undeniable.
Oh, the stats are industrial.
They really are.
Yeah.
We are talking about a 4-month period, springtime, and in those roughly 120 days, she has just been on an absolute tear.
She dated over 30 candidates.
30.
And she spoke with more than 43 people.
I genuinely tried to wrap my head around the logistics of that. 43 people in 4 months.
It's wild.
That is a new potential life partner every 2.5 days.
Think about the cognitive load of that for a second. Meeting a stranger, trying to assess their values, their history, their compatibility.
While presenting your own best self.
Exactly. Doing that once a month is exhausting. Doing it every 72 hours. That is a recipe for absolute psychological depletion.
It turns dating into data entry.
Right.
You're not meeting a person, you're basically scanning a barcode.
Yeah, that high-frequency trading approach to love.
And the result of this?
0 results. She found absolutely no one.
And because she found no one, she declares she is tired of everything.
This is where we really have to look at why she found no one. Because statistically, out of 43 people, you'd think at least one might be promising.
Right. But her filter was, well, it was specific. She had 2 main criteria.
Let's hear them.
The first one is financial. She wants a partner earning at least 25 lakhs annually.
Just for context, 25 lakhs is a very healthy upper middle class salary in the Indian context where this story is set.
Okay.
It's a marker of stability and success. It's definitely a high bar, but it's a measurable, concrete standard.
It's a number. You can literally filter for that on a spreadsheet. But the second criterion,
Yeah.
This is the one that just stops you cold. I had to reread it to make sure I wasn't hallucinating.
It is the most striking requirement she lists.
She writes, as a strict non-negotiable, quote, I will not marry a boy whose life has any sorrow or struggle.
It's a breathtaking demand, isn't it?
I mean, is she looking for a human being or a lab-grown experiment?
Right. She's not saying I want someone who has handled their struggle well. She's not saying I want someone who isn't currently in a massive crisis.
No. She wants a life history with 0 sorrow and 0 struggle. How do you find an adult man successful enough to earn 25 lakhs who has never faced a single adversity?
You don't, and it raises a massive question about what she actually thinks perfection is.
She seems to equate flawless with untouched.
Exactly. It's a very specific kind of extreme risk aversion. She believes that struggle is a contaminant.
Like a virus?
Yes. If she brings a person with struggle into her life, she thinks she's importing that virus and it's going to affect her own happiness.
It's like an emotional insurance policy. She wants a literal guarantee that pain won't enter her house.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Is it really that wild to want a partner who is stable? Maybe she's just had enough drama and just wants peace.
I get that. But there is a huge difference between seeking peace and denying reality.
Right. Seeking peace means finding someone who can navigate the storms with you.
Denying reality is demanding that storms just don't exist.
And if you somehow found this mythical man who has never struggled, never lost a loved one, never failed an exam, never had his heart broken, he wouldn't be peaceful.
He would be incredibly fragile.
Precisely. Resilience comes from the struggle. If she's afraid of sorrow, she actually needs someone who knows how to process it.
Not someone who has never seen it.
Yeah, she's filtering out the very people who would have the emotional tools to actually support her. She's looking for a car that has 0 miles on it because she thinks it's safer.
But a car with 0 miles hasn't been road tested. You don't even know if the brakes work.
She's actively selecting for emotional immaturity under the guise of perfection.
And this mindset, this absolute refusal to accept that struggle is a factory setting of the human experience.
Yeah.
That is what leads to her exhaustion.
She is fighting a war against reality, and reality always wins.
Always. And that brings us to the word the text uses to describe this state. Ulchan.
Yes, the Hindi word ulchan. It translates roughly to confusion or dilemma.
But it's more visceral than just being confused,
It
right?
is. It implies an entanglement, like a ball of yarn that has been completely knotted up. And the more you pull at the wrong thread, the tighter the knot gets.
And she is pulling at the threads like a maniac. 43 dates, strict criteria, rejection after rejection.
She is tightening the knot of her own dissatisfaction, all while thinking she is untangling it.
That's the trap. She thinks the ulchan is caused by the lack of a perfect husband.
But the text suggests the ulchan is caused by the search itself, by the sheer rigidity of her demands.
This is where the article shifts gears, and I really appreciate how the author does this. We leave that suffocating spreadsheet energy of the dating search behind.
It's a very deliberate pivot. Suddenly we move to a spring morning. There are sparrows chirping.
It's light, it's organic.
And into the scene walks a young man playing a flute.
The contrast there is just so sharp. You have the woman who represents the mechanical, the controlled, the I need 25 lakhs and 0 sorrow vibe.
And then you have the flute player.
So what does he represent here?
He represents flow, but not in the lazy, passive way we often use that word in modern culture.
Right.
Think about music. You can't force a melody into a spreadsheet. You can't just demand that a note sounds good.
You actually have to play it.
You have to be in the moment, responding to the breath and the instrument itself. He isn't trying to curate the sparrows.
He isn't yelling at the birds to chirp in the key of G.
Exactly. He's participating in the environment, not trying to dominate it.
And this beautiful contrast sets up the central philosophical question that the text poses.
Yeah.
Why is it that as we get older, life gets harder?
That is the question haunting the protagonist. She's older, she's tired of everything, and it feels so much harder than it did when she was 20.
Why is that? I mean, is it just because we have bills and back pain now?
The source argues that it's not actually the external world making it hard, it's us.
Oh, interesting.
When we are children, we operate much more like that flute player. We play, we accept things. If it rains, we jump in the puddles.
But as we age, we start building these mental cages.
Yes. We say, I must have this exact salary. My partner must look exactly like this. My weekend must go exactly according to my plan.
So we accumulate all these conditions. And every single condition is a potential point of failure.
We create a incredibly narrow definition of success or happiness, and then we are miserable when reality inevitably spills outside those lines.
Life gets harder because we are carrying the weight of our own expectations.
We are trying to push the river upstream.
The text offers a solution to this, though. And it's a concept that I think we need to really take our time with, because it sounds simple, but it's actually quite difficult to practice.
It talks about going with the flow.
But immediately, the text clarifies what that does not mean.
Right, because I think a lot of high achievers here go with the flow, and they immediately hear give up.
They hear, stop trying, sit on the couch, and just wait for the universe to deliver a pizza.
Jesus take the wheel doesn't mean you take a nap on the highway.
Right.
The text is very clear here. Flow does not mean stopping activity. The flute player is highly active.
He is blowing air, he's moving his fingers, he's creating art.
Exactly. The woman dating is active too, but the quality of their action is entirely different.
One is action with resistance, and the other is action with acceptance.
Spot on. And the mechanism for that acceptance is what the text calls impartial and choiceless awareness.
Choiceless awareness. Let's break that down for the listener. Because choiceless sounds a bit like I don't have free will, like I'm just a robot.
It's not about losing your will at all. It's about losing your judgment.
Okay, how so?
Think of it like a weather station. A weather station just records the temperature. It says it is 40 degrees and raining.
It doesn't say it's 40 degrees and this is a disaster, I hate this, and why is it always raining on my day off?
Exactly. The weather station has all the data, but absolutely no narrative.
It has awareness, but it doesn't choose to label the event as good or bad. It just witnesses it.
Now apply that to our protagonist. She meets a guy. He tells her, hey, I had a really rough year last year. I lost my job and I struggled with depression.
Her current reaction is instant judgment, defective, rejection, waste of my time.
And that is choice. She is choosing to label his struggle as a negative value that completely invalidates him.
So what would choiceless awareness look like in that scenario?
It would look like this. She hears his story. She registers it. She says to herself, this man has faced struggle. He is telling me about it.
She just observes the fact.
Yes. And she observes her own reaction to it. Maybe she feels a bit of fear or anxiety. She observes that too. But she doesn't immediately slam the gavel down.
So by not slamming the gavel, she stays in the conversation.
She stays in reality.
And she saves herself the exhaustion. The exhaustion really comes from the judgment, doesn't it?
It takes a huge amount of energy to constantly categorize everything in your life as acceptable or unacceptable.
If you just let things be, the ulchan, that knot we talked about, it naturally loosens.
It sounds so much less violent. Her current method of filtering people feels like she's taking a machete to her dating life.
Choiceless awareness feels like the flute player, just listening to the note.
And this is exactly where the freedom lies. The text says that through this awareness, a human becomes free from the confusion they have created themselves.
That's the kicker right there.
Yeah.
They have created themselves.
The 43 men didn't confuse her. The world isn't confusing her.
She confused herself by demanding that the world fit into a tiny box that the world was never designed to fit into.
It brings up a scary thought, though, for a lot of people.
What's that?
If we drop the checklist, if we stop demanding no sorrow, doesn't that mean we're just settling?
Oh, that is the fear everyone has. If I accept reality, I'm just accepting mediocrity.
That is the fear, yes. But look at her results. Is the protagonist finding excellence with her checklist?
No, she's finding nothing. She is lonely and she's tired.
The control isn't working.
That's the hard truth. The control isn't delivering the quality of life she actually wants.
Paradoxically, if she practiced choiceless awareness, she might actually find a much better partner.
Because she would be looking at the person, not the spec sheet.
Exactly. She might meet someone who has struggled, and through that pure awareness, she might see that his struggle has made him kind, or wise, or funny.
She misses all of that because she's blocked by her own criteria. It's like she's so busy looking for the absence of sorrow that she's missing the presence of character.
Real connection happens in the messy parts.
Yeah.
You bond with people over how you handle the flat tire together, not over the fact that you happen to own a shiny car.
By trying to filter out the struggle, she's literally filtering out the bonding opportunities.
So true.
So bringing this back to you, the listener, most of us aren't currently interviewing 43 people for the role of a spouse.
But I highly suspect we are doing this checklist thing in other areas of our lives.
Oh, we do it everywhere. I will be happy when this project is finally done.
Or I will not accept a vacation where it rains even one day.
I need my children to be perfect students, or else I feel like I've failed.
We are constantly setting up these no sorrow, no struggle clauses in our contracts with life.
And when life breaches that contract, because it always does, we feel that exact same exhaustion.
We say, I'm tired of everything.
We burn out because we are trying to adjudicate reality instead of actually living it.
The core lesson from Tushar's article is that you can just stop the trial. You can just let the evidence be the evidence.
I love that image so much. Stop the trial. You don't have to be the judge of every single moment. You can just be the witness.
And that's where the flow comes back in. If you stop judging the current, you can actually swim in it.
The flute player produces beauty because he isn't fighting the instrument. He's working with the air.
We can work with the air of our lives too, even if that air is a little bit turbulent today.
So the synthesis here is really about a fundamental shift in attention. The protagonist is focused entirely on filtering, keeping all the bad stuff out.
While the philosopher is focused on flowing, moving gracefully through whatever comes, good or bad.
And the promise of the text is that the philosophical path, while it sounds a bit passive at first, is actually the only way to be truly alive.
The filtering path just leads to a sterile, empty room.
It's the difference between a life that looks perfect on a spreadsheet and a life that actually feels good to live.
A life without sorrow is a life without depth. A life without struggle is a life without growth.
So if you are feeling exhausted, maybe it's time to check your criteria.
You might be trying to hold up a standard that is actively crushing you.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought experiment based on everything we've discussed today.
We started with the question of whether life gets harder as we age.
And we discovered that the hardness often comes from our own resistance, from that friction between what is and what we demanded.
So here is the challenge for your week. Identify one area where you have a no struggle clause.
Maybe it's your morning commute, maybe it's dealing with your coworkers, or maybe it's your own personal fitness progress.
Ask yourself, where are you demanding perfection and getting exhausted by the lack of it?
And try, just for a day, to apply that choiceless awareness. When the traffic jam happens, don't label it as a disaster.
Just observe it. There are cars. They are stopped. I am sitting here.
See if removing the judgment removes the weight of the situation. Does the situation itself change? No.
But does your exhaustion change? That's the really interesting variable to watch.
You might just find that life doesn't actually get harder as you get older.
It might just be that we get worse at being passengers.
Maybe it's time to stop trying to drive the bus from the back seat and just look out the window for a while.
You might see some sparrows.
Or hear a flute. Thanks for exploring the Oljanhan with us today.
Until next time.